Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Today's the 26th, Friday the 26th of June, 2020. And let's get started. Let's open up the charts right here and take a look at what's going on. You know what? Here's the bottom line, guys. Right here is the Fed's balance sheet. This should be going up during this crisis. It should be going up exponentially. They flattened the curve, more than flattened the curve, it's dropping. If you take a look here, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020, was when they stopped putting money into the system. This is the bottom line. The Fed's retreating. And they're retreating not just from Wall Street. If they're retreating from Wall Street, Wall Street's going to collapse. Just as simple as that. If they pull away support, and this is what this chart might be, a simple chart, very simple chart, but that's what this chart's showing me, is that the Fed's pulling away support. In fact, their balance sheet's dropping. The Fed's balance sheet's dropping. What about support for the people? What about all these 50 million people who are out of work right now? It's not their fault. It's the government's fault. Are they going to, because the government's fault, the government should offer support so that they can feed themselves, so that they can keep in their homes, they can stay in their homes, so that they need money. Money's what makes it, and there's no jobs out there right now. The jobs are gone. You got 50 million people. And, they started out okay supporting them. They sent them $1,200 checks, and they upped their amount of $600 every week, I guess it was, for unemployment insurance, an extra $600. They're ending all of that in July. And, support needs to be something that continues on. It's not just something you can do today and cut it off tomorrow and let everybody starve. The Fed's getting stingy. And it's too late. Once the markets collapse, once everything collapses, it's too late then to say, oh, we shouldn't have been stingy. It's just like Janet Yellen, She had her time, she had her chance, to raise interest rates. And she dragged her heels the whole way. Didn't raise interest rates when she had her chance. Maybe we wouldn't be in this situation right now if she'd raised interest rates on time. For crying out loud, But right now, that's what the Fed's doing. The same stupidity. They're trying to cut back and be stingy with the money right now. It's the money that's going to keep. Look, we had a situation develop overnight in America a little while ago, with cities burning left and right. Looters and vandalism and all that. I'm going to tell you, if you looked at America like a field of grass, that grass was greener back when the cities were burning a few weeks ago than it is now. It's getting drier. What happens when you get a big, huge field of grass and it gets drier and drier and drier and the hot sun beats down on it? Well, it becomes a fire hazard. A grass fire can start in the grass, and it can burn unchecked, and we got the same conditions developing in the Western world. The whole Western world. Look at this. I got to show you guys this. Look. Who owns the national debt? Foreign investors here own $6.12 trillion worth of debt, the United States. So if the United States were to collapse and the United States dollar were to become valueless, the treasuries all were to become valueless, this would leave a $6.21 trillion hole in the foreign investors' pocketbooks of the foreign investors of the West. Now, China has separated themselves. They got their own banks and everything. They did this a couple of years back. They got their own SWIFT system. They got everything. They're running on an independent system. But the entire Western world, all the NATO countries, and including Canada and the United States and everyone on the West, is running on the Western system. And the Western system would collapse if the dollar collapses completely and utterly. And so this chaos would spread to other countries, not just in the United States. Now let's take a look at the gold price today. Gold price took a big dipsy doodle earlier. 1767 right now. It's up $2.60. But look, it was smashed down to 1745. You know what I'm thinking to myself? Hey, you know what? These metal manipulators smashed it down so they can buy it physical on the cheap. You know, that's what I'm thinking's going on. I'm thinking that they're making positions for themselves in the physical market. Long positions. The really rich guys that know what they're doing, you know? And right now, I think they're doing it. And I think they smack it down so that they can get a little bit cheaper. They're awfully greedy, you know, and stingy. That's how they got to be rich. By being greedy and stingy and penny pinching. And, you know, I'm going to tell you a little story. There was one of these rich people called Hattie Green. And she owned the Waldorf Astoria Hotel back in the day, you know. I mean, she had like $100 million back in the days where you could buy a full dinner, a full meal for 10 cents. You know, I'm talking about a steak dinner for 10 cents. She had like $100 million. But she used to save bars of soap from the hotel, little tiny bars, you know, after they'd been used, squeeze them together to make a whole bar for herself. She used to do stuff like that to save money. I heard she lived in a piano box on the other side of the railway tracks where it was cold and windy and no insulation, you know, and everything, while there was empty rooms in her big hotel. You know, she's so cheap. That's how stingy they are. You know, anyway, you know what happened with her? Her son needed an operation in order to save his leg. She had all these millions. She wouldn't pay for it. This is what I heard anyway. And so what happened is he lost his leg. And he was always bitter about that. So after she died, the fortune went over to him. And it was such a big fortune, he tried to squander it. From the stories I've heard, he tried to squander the fortune by just giving it away. And all his life he gave money away. But he couldn't give away at all because it was so big. The fortune was so big. Anyway, that's how the story goes anyway. So we're looking at gold 1767. Silver today 1782. And silver's bounced back up too from a smackdown. They've done these smackdowns. They're doing like one a day. During the same period of the day, every day. And I think they're buying in, setting positions for themselves. That's what I think they're doing. Let's take a look at the Dow Jones today. 597 down. You know, 582 down. It doesn't surprise me a bit. I think we're going to see a lot of downward action unless the Fed comes back in with more support. And right now, they're not. You know, and that's why that chart means everything. Let's take a look now at, I seen this story on here. It said Florida has 9,000 new cases in a single day. So we're not over this thing, you know. Let me see. Where have I got it here? Oil price today. We're down 74 cents on the day, 37.98. U.S. Treasuries. We're looking at a 4 basis point fall on Treasury yields. We're looking at 1.37 on the 30-year and 0.63 on the 10-year with a 3.8 basis point drop on the Treasury yield on the 10-year. So the yields are dropping. They can't. Right now they've gotten to a position where they could not afford anything more than, say, 2% on the U.S. 10-year. They've got it down that low. They couldn't even afford that, you know. They can't afford to have interest rates rise any now at this point. They have to keep interest rates low. So if that means them buy all the treasuries, then so be it. They'll buy them all if they have to. Let's take a look now at the U.S. dollar index and see what it's doing. 97.46. The dollar's starting to drop. It was going up for a long time here, but it's starting to drop right now, just in the last hour or two. It's starting to drop, and it's dropping rather fast in the last hour or two. It could go into negative territory in just a little while here, the dollar. Anyway, listen. very, very tumultuous times we're living in right now, and it's very difficult to navigate your life through this situation. And I really feel for the people out there, the 50 million people who've lost their jobs. Now, I'm in a kind of a rough position myself because my pay's been cut way back and everything. I'm surviving. Let's just put it that way. But I'm going to tell you that these people that lost their jobs entirely, if this support is drawn away from them and they don't get any more stimulus or anything like that, they're facing a really rough situation, and there's a lot of people in this situation, and my heart goes out to you guys, and that's where my loyalty lies, is to the people who are trying to survive in this turbulent time. Thank you guys for listening. Like and subscribe. Give me a thumbs up. And we'll catch you guys in the next show. Bye-bye.